Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon, madam.
Okay, I'm going to take you through this unit that is on this topic, controlling ICT security and threat. Okay, before we start, I will have to take the roll call. I can see we have like the whole group in, that is, we are 5 in total. Let's continue. So basically, on this, from the topic, what is ICT security threat? From general knowledge, you can tell us what it is. Okay.
Well,
What is it, Mr. Fred?
can I give it a try?
Yeah, give it a try.
I think ICT security threats, these are harms that can be caused by, let's say, some individuals through networks and computer systems.
Yeah, that's basically it. It is okay. This like topic on security. It is a vital topic into this digital world where the systems and data they constantly face this risk. Now, the objectives of the lesson, by the end of this session, every learner is able to recall the 5 key elements of controlling ICT threats, identify common security threats and control categories, understand the role of policy, testing, and monitoring in a security framework. Those are basically the objectives of this session. So we go to the first topic, that is identifying the security threat. Okay, the first step in controlling ICT security threats is identification. That is identifying the threat based on the system vulnerability. You can't protect what you don't know is vulnerable. You have to start by assessing the system vulnerabilities, the weaknesses that could be exploited by threats that can be categorized by their potential risk and impact. Also, we have examples from the range that is malicious hackers, employee sabotage, fraud and theft, and loss of infrastructure. There are examples of these threats. Okay, in basic knowledge, what is malicious hackers? Ivy or anyone can say. Who is a malicious hacker?
Come up again.
Okay, we have these examples, that is malicious hacker, employee sabotage, fraud and theft, and loss of infrastructure as an example of risk in the security system. So my question is, what is malicious? Who is a malicious hacker?
Yes, a malicious hacker is someone who accesses someone's information or someone's property, technical property, and destroys it or introduces something that brings damage.
Yeah, it is basically an outsider. Then when you say about employees sabotage, these are internal misuse of access privileges. An employee can because he or she has the access, can do something with the security of the company. Then fraud and theft, that is stealing data, money, or any intellectual property. Then we have the loss of infrastructure, for example, power failures or physical damages that disrupt the system. So we go to our next topic, that is establishing the security controls. Okay, once the threat has been identified, we have to move to establishing these security controls. These are measures we put in place to protect the systems. We have like 3 major categories. That is the preventive control, detective, and the responsive. When we say the preventive. This is to stop an attack from happening. For example, where firewalls, passwords, encryptions, and access codes. Then that is the preventive aspect of it. Then detective, this is identifying when something is an ongoing or a past attack is going wrong. For example, intrusion detection, and we have log monitoring. Then that is number 3, we have responsive controls. This is the act after an incident to limit the damage. Basically, it's just the incident response, the plan, and the backups. So when we have already identified maybe the vulnerability, then you come and establish these security controls. Then after when you establish these security controls, you have to deploy and test. That is where we are going. After a controls are designed, they must be deployed and tested. Deployment includes both physical controls, like for example, secure server rooms or locks, and we also have logical controls like user authentication, permissions, and encryption. We also ensure these controls align with the relevant ICT security acts. For example, the Kenyan Act of Security, that is 2018 Security Act. Then you have the test system, the testing part of it. When you have deployed, that is the implementation stage, you have to test the system vulnerability. So this testing ensures our measures actually work. This is where the ethical penetration testing comes in. The ethical penetration comes in. This is something called legal hacking. It means testing systems with permission to uncover the weaknesses before the real hackers do it. So we have test for vulnerability, that is deploying a test plan, identifying vulnerable system levels. Then we come to our next, that is ethical penetration. You can tell us what is it, ethical penetration. Ivy or Mr. OO.
Yes, madam. Would you please
What is
repeat the
ethical
question?
penetration?
Oh, I think ethical penetration is where maybe a company
Yes.
can allow anyone who would be able to get into their system so that they can detect any fault that is in that system.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. This is the legal breaking into your computers and devices to test an organization defense. It's basically legal, like entry with permission. You like hack with permission. That is it all. Okay, this is the critical skill defined on this unit. It stimulates the real world attacks to find weaknesses before malicious attackers do find the weaknesses in the system of the company. So the results are compiled into a system vulnerability report, which guides the future improvement. In case somebody now has already, like we have done now the ethical penetration where one of our employees that has entered into the system, we will have to, like, in case of anything that I've identified there, we'll put them all at the system vulnerability report, which will help guide the future improvements when developing that system. Then we move to the monitoring of the security system. Security is a process, it's not a product. Security is not a one-time task, it is a continuous process. Once the systems are in place, they need regular monitoring and review to stay effective. Like, for example, in a school or something, let's say in a bank, we normally, in every organization, you must have somebody who is in charge of the security, that is the cyber security. Like somebody in that company, that person is able to like see what is going on in the system, check if there are any threats and everything. So security is a process, it's not a product. The the steps in monitoring these security threats, you evaluate you evaluate the performance of the current security system tools, then you generate and review the security reports, then you update or replace the outdated measures. Basically, this is like the system, the how do you call it now? It is like everything in these in their control, security monitorization, where we have a person who manages everything. So I would love you to break into classes, or what do you call them, to your rooms. I want to group you so that you go and discuss on this. I want to break you into rooms. You go and discuss on these processes. That is the four processes of monitoring these security threats. Then when you're done, you come to back. Okay, I hope everyone has gone and like tried to get to understand more about them in the group, in the rooms. So we come and summarize the unit. This is basically the whole cycle what you have learned. That is identifying the threats and risks, establishing controls and policy, deploying the test and measures, and monitoring and review of the system. So in summary, that is the 5 key elements to control the ICT threats. Number 1, identifying security threats, establish security, deploy, and test and monitor. Anyone has a question? Any question? Ivy, do you have a question? Otieno, Felix, do you
Hello,
have a
madam.
question?
Not really, but just you can just share with us the notes after the class. That's my concern.
Okay. Anyone who has a question? Okay, see you in the next class. Thank you for your participation. Have a nice weekend.